The legislation we are considering today will improve land management and access by consolidating checkerboard land ownership in North Dakota, reducing overcrowding at national parks, and encouraging visitation to state parks in the southeast and delivering broadband connectivity to rural America. We will also be considering my legislation, the Apostle Islands National Park and Preserve Act, to designate in my beautiful district Wisconsin's first national park. Known as the crown jewel of Wisconsin, the Apostle Islands National Lakeshore is truly an unrivaled destination that is more than worthy of being elevated to a crown jewel of the national park system. The Apostle Islands are rich in natural, cultural, and historic resources. Comprised of 21 islands and 12 miles of mainland shore on Lake Superior in northern Wisconsin, the Apostle Islands contain numerous scenic cliff formations and arches, sea caves, and sandy beaches. From abundant forests and fisheries to dramatic cliffs and caves, there is truly no place in America like the Apostle Islands. This area also contains a collection of underwater shipwrecks and what the National Park Service calls the largest and finest collection of lighthouses in the country. The 10 historic lighthouses of the Apostle Islands range from approximately 110 to 170 years old and offer important glimpses into the maritime history of the Great Lakes region. In the summer months, locals and tourists enjoy hiking, powerboating, sailing, kayaking, camping, and even scuba diving. Families picnic on pristine sandy beaches and discover the solitude and remoteness of the area's many islands. In the winter, when Lake Superior freezes over, the Apostle Islands are transformed into dramatic ice caves that are accessible to hikers. These stunning and unique ice formations are considered a bucket list destination and offer world-class recreation opportunities. My legislation is very straightforward. It would simply redesignate the majority of the Apostle Islands National Lakeshore into the Apostle Islands National Park. My bill also maintains the heritage of hunting within the Apostle Islands by designating Sand Island, a popular hunting designation, as the Sand Island National Preserve. Protecting hunting access is paramount to me as the chairman of this subcommittee, and we worked for over a year with local stakeholders to ensure that active hunting locations were not harmed by this bill. Further, my legislation directs the National Park Service to enhance interpretive displays within the Apostle Islands to include more information about the area's rich fur trade, logging, and fishing industries. This information will also honor the Ojibwe tribes, the original inhabitants of the Apostle Islands who have called the area home for centuries. The Apostle Islands are integral to the culture of the Ojibwe. People and elevating this unit to National Park Service will help elevate their history as well. While this legislation was just introduced, it reflects effort that has been several decades in the making. In 1930, nearly a century ago, Congress first authorized a study to designate the Apostle Islands as a national park. Roughly 40 years later, President John F. Kennedy described the islands as part of our American heritage, and the area was designated as a national lakeshore. Now, by elevating the Apostle Islands from a national lakeshore to a national park, we can ensure that thousands more are able to visit this area. I know firsthand how meaningful increased visitation can be for our Northwoods communities and the small businesses that rely on outdoor recreation. My wife and I operated wilderness cruises in Wisconsin's Northwoods for 2 decades. This will be a win for the people in my state and the country at large as more folks get to enjoy the crown jewels of Wisconsin. Since becoming chairman of this subcommittee, I've talked with constituents in my district. We're going to get a little drink here. I'd like to thank them all for their valuable feedback. I'd also like to thank State Senator Romaine Quinn, who represents the Apostle Islands in the Wisconsin State Senate, for appearing before the subcommittee today to testify in support of this legislation. You can see the beauty of the Apostle Islands in the pictures behind me, but for those who haven't had the chance to experience this beauty up close, I would like to extend my invitation to you to visit us in northern Wisconsin. It is my hope that many more will be able to experience this hidden gem once the Apostle Islands are designated as Wisconsin's first national park. With that, I appreciate all the bill sponsors for their efforts on today's bills. I also want to thank the witnesses appearing before us. We appreciate you taking the time to be here and look forward to hearing your valuable testimony.